Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Dr. Shanea Clancy, and she is a best-selling author, entrepreneurial speaker, forensic nurse, business strategist, and she equips individuals and organizations to rise above limiting beliefs to maximize their purpose, potential, and positioning, unlocking next level success. Welcome to the show, Dr. Shanea.
Hello, thank you. It's an honor to be here today. Thank you.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Dr. Shanea. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about leadership. We'll talk about leading with clarity and resilience. We'll talk about all this. But before that, let's talk a bit about your story, your background, your journey, so that the audience knows who they are listening to.
Absolutely. So I am Dr. Shanea Clancy, a forensic nurse by trade, and on a mission to empower, equip, and educate anybody who is looking for next level results. I started my entrepreneurial journey in about 2014, have written 7 books, and became a #1 international best-selling author this past April. And I do a lot of coaching, consulting for a variety of clients, and also help them share their stories by writing books too.
Absolutely, absolutely. So first, I talked about all these things that you do, equipping individuals and to rise above limiting beliefs and all. But I want to understand much more better from you for the audience to understand what is it that you are trying to achieve with what you are doing, so that they can know about it, and then we can ask how best you do that, so that they can understand the fine print about the blueprint that you share with a lot of people.
Sure. I am just helping people. I'm on a mission to help them get to where they want to go. And how do I do that? It's just by really being my authentic self. Honestly, just meeting people where they're at, helping them scale that blueprint that they're on. And I actually just have a heart and a mission for people. Yes. And absolutely love being here today. And if somebody were to ask me what is one thing that most people don't know about me, it would be that I am a trained mountaineer. And that's where this leading with clarity and resilience really stems from, because it ties a lot into mental health, leadership, and positioning.
Absolutely, absolutely, Dr. Shanea. So let's understand these things. When you talk about, about your clients that come to you, what is it that they come to you? You talk about, mindset shifts and overcoming limiting beliefs. But let's understand things from the ground. What is it that they come to you for? How do you help them, so that directly from the ground, a lot of people will be able to understand and learn from that?
Yes. Helping folks when they come to me, they may be needing some coaching with speaking, being a little bit more concise, articulate, getting their point across, and also having that confidence. So that would be one aspect. A lot of executives and even business owners still lack some of that dynamic conversational piece, especially when it comes to what we don't want to talk about, right? Sales, marketing ourselves. It's kind of this unwritten role where we shouldn't be marketing ourselves, should we? But really, we are marketing ourselves all the time. So always be marketing. ABM is what I like to call it. Clients will come to me because their company is having strategy issues or maybe retention issues. And so working with them to come up with a plan after evaluating their company, talking to stakeholders, people within their organization, to see what are some barriers, or what I like to call opportunities for growth and learning. And then looking at those results at the end, because not only am I results driven, results focused is what I like to go by instead of that results driven. So everything is gauged accordingly from beginning to end, regardless of that process. I also have clients that will come to me, hey, I need help finding a job. I need help writing my resume. And every job I'm looking for is a skill set that I don't have. And so I challenge everybody, look at your skill set and how can you make it apply for the position or the company that you want to be in or start. We never have what we all need in the beginning. If we did, we wouldn't seek out expertise or coaches to help us get to that next level.
Absolutely. And so, Dr. Shana, I come to this whole thing about clarity. In these times when there is so much of, information and misinformation and all those things, and even within other aspects of solutions also, there are so many solutions available, or confusion about those solutions, that one can lose clarity, either it's an individual or an organization. How do you bring clarity in your life? Because everyone is coming with only information, very less people around us, even in organization wise, as a leader, they will bring you clarity. And in that aspect, you are mostly alone. Either you are a leader, or even as an individual, you are most alone. How do you navigate that path in today's noisy world?
Yes, it is such a noisy world. The bottom line is connection. We can have a multitude of people that we could work with. But if we don't feel connected, if my client doesn't feel connected or a level of trust in working with me, we have a breakdown in communication and a barrier to begin with. So it's really about forging the relationship and then leveraging what that ask is. And you are absolutely correct that everybody can feel siloed, whether they are in a leadership position or more on the forefront. And so when folks are struggling with, where do I go? Where do I pivot? What should my strategic plan be for this coming year? What needs to be priorities? Everybody looks at numbers. And yes, numbers matter, but is the organization having a numbers issue or a people issue? Because the people issue affects those numbers. And if that root cause isn't evaluated or at least touched on, there's going to be higher turnover, right? Because people don't understand what the mission is. They don't understand what their task is. They might not be seeing what their piece of the puzzle is creating. And if people are uneducated in that aspect, it's very easily to get distracted and move left when the company is going right.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now let's talk about the mindset shift. How do you bring this, mindset shift in terms of organizations? For an individual, okay, you can still do it. For an organization, how do you do that part? Because that needs a lot of, and especially when you talk about, from fixed to fearless. Now, these times everybody is fearful, and sometimes people want to go back to that fixed mindset which gives them that comfort, that okay, this is the area which I know well, I can play my best game from this particular defensive position, rather than moving on in uncharted territory. So how does one get into this whole mindset game, Dr. Shana? Help us understand about
I
this, especially
love,
for
love, love,
organizations.
love this question. Mindset, right? Like you said, we are comfortable. We grow up in certain areas. We have an area of expertise or passion. This is how we view ourselves in the world and how the world may view us. So shifting can be scary and it can be challenging because most people do not like change. So the approach and the blueprint that I utilize is something called motivational interviewing. And it is actually an evidence-based practice, kind of therapeutic approach. I'm not a therapist, but nurses can still be trained in this. And it is really about eliciting that change within the person, because internally we have the answers that we are seeking. It's usually when we come to that resistance or a fork in the road where we are unsure, right? If we keep going down path A, what will that look like? What if we switch things up and go down path B? What will that look like? And so my role in doing motivational interviewing is to be what I like to call a Sherpa, right? Told you I'm a mountaineer. So we're on a Sherpa journey, and whatever that summit looks like for that client, where they want to be or they're considering being, starting with mindset, it's about that journey, because if there is not that internal shift or that client buy-in to how confident they are in making a change or how equipped they are to make a change, it won't happen. There has to be that collaborative piece, because it's like, right, if somebody goes to the doctors and the doctor's like, you need to do this, this, and this, maybe they have a completely different approach on the type of medicine that they prefer. And they're like, okay. And then they go do the complete opposite and then wonder why there's that friction, because somebody has to have that transformation from the inside out, which is where the mind piece is absolutely crucial.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, in terms of the mindset shift, and the limiting beliefs, how do you overcome these limiting beliefs? Are there several changes that one can do? How do you tell them? Because it is their mind, but your understanding. How do you make your understanding get into their minds to shape their overcoming, over limiting beliefs? And understand that what is it that some of the things that audience can learn from you here right away on the episode itself.
So I would say there is nothing that I do to make that shift, because that would be me leveraging my expertise and knowledge onto somebody, projecting that. And so I think it's really important to draw those clear distinctions, that I may be seeing that person from a different lens than what they think they are showing up as or perceive themselves as. So when we talk about, I just want to say that to kind of set the stage. So when we talk about the limiting beliefs, people might not even know they have limiting beliefs because that is their normal. And so it might be just exploring key phrases that resonate with them. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I don't know what I need to do. These kind of stories that play in people's, minds are actually limiting beliefs, because we all have the full potential. It's just whether we recognize that to make that change. And so what I do is kind of go back to that internal aspect of equipping people, meeting them where they're at. And so a client might say, I don't know how to do this. Let's pause and think about that. How can we work together so that you do know if it's something you want to learn, and that automatically starts to increase confidence and shatters that belief that they can't do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now let's look at the resilience part of it, and leadership and resilience. And you talk about failure, and you talk about that if you are giving permission to yourself about failing is not failure. Help us understand then, where does this word resilience comes in? How do you learn resilience rather than looking at failure from different angles? Does it happen on practical level on the ground? No, it is not. Individually, people don't like to fail. As a leadership, you won't like to be looked upon as a failure. How do you then maintain that you learn even in spite of not doing so good first time, second time? At the same time, you develop resilience and do not develop some sort of a phobia towards trying itself. Sometimes leadership can just become very protective about these things and do not want to be. They just want to be in their, within that comfort zone itself. Help us understand then, how do you bring out that resilience from the shackles of public perception as well as your own mind?
Great question. I view resilience as two different things. And what do I mean by that? We look at resilience as the comeback, the ability to have the fortitude, if you will. But the piece of resilience that is often overlooked is the ability in a leadership role to kind of step back and evaluate. There might not be a need for overcoming anything, but they're like what I like to call, and I've held them. They're called resiliency like trainings or resiliency masterminds, and it's just so that executives can have a retreat to realign, refocus, and then get their head back in the game, so they're better equipped and positioned. So when we talk about resiliency, I think it's important to look at the diverse meanings of what that word means, because words matter. And so when we look at failing, giving yourself that permission is not failure, because you are stepping up and stepping out, willing to put yourself out there to try something. And if you try and it doesn't come out how you really were hoping, then that's an opportunity for growth. That's where that mindset piece ties very closely together. If somebody looks at it as a failure, it might be a little bit harder to get back in the saddle, to learn from that misredirection, to keep on the trajectory of whatever that goal is. On the other hand, the importance of resiliency will help with sustainability, because if we don't try, we can't fail, but then we're not progressing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Dr. Shana, tell me what can people learn about resilience, about clarity, about leadership from your books? What is it that they can learn from you?
A few takeaways would be that the past does not have to define you. That's one of the big themes, because we, like you said, often get get comfortable in that comfort zone. And so what we've grown up as, what we know as, what we've labeled ourselves as, called ourselves, that's where people get stuck. And so what you would learn is how to overcome that, some tips, tricks, and strategies. I can't give them all to you, or else you won't go read the book. And the books will also teach you the ability to have that mental fortitude, that mental health aspect, and that whole health aspect of how to be the best version that you want or can be.
Absolutely. There is much to learn from you, Dr. Shana, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to learn more from you, about all these things that you talk about, and also from your books. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, my socials at Shanea Clancy, or my Clancy Consulting Services handle. So both of them, you'll find me. My website, www.shaneaclancy.com.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining
Thank you.
us.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day.